Well, good morning, everyone. And how are ya? Once again, welcome to another live this morning. And we're always thrilled to have you on with us. And we appreciate you when you can come live. We understand that that's not the majority of our audience is, watching this later or watching it on podcast. Hey, I missed everybody at the top. Hi, Andrea. Janice. Wait a minute. Was Mike there? Was who else was there? Elaine, Kevin. Rain Cloud, how are you? I'm going to say Brahim was there, but I didn't see his name. Maybe he was. Jocelyn. Sturgeon. Sharon, how are you? Nick from our staff. And Fran from Orangeville. Good morning, Fran. How are you? Cindy. And Lynn Marie. And Wendy. And Dave from Muskoka. Good morning. Nellie, how are you? And Marvel from Ottawa. Mike, you were there, weren't you? Nina, how are you? Annette, bonjour de Nouveau-Brunswick. Gary Bolton, how are you? Clinton from Wyoming, how are you, my friend? Adeline, Kristen, guys, Karen, Frida saying it's smoky out there. Where are you, Frida? Shirley, Diane from LaSalle, Joanne from Berks Falls, Madeleine, Kippawa, Quebec, bonjour. Linda, and Linda's listening. I love when Linda listens. Patricia, Sue, how are you? And Heather, how are you, Heather? Wendy, Wasega, Brahim, were you at the top, Brahim? Dave, and Kristen, Jeanette, and Cindy, Patricia, Kara, and Teresa from Dunedin, Florida. How are you? Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. Cheryl, how are you? Marianne, we love you guys. Thanks for coming on. Corrine, Francis from Vaughan, Cynthia, and Donna, and Arlene. Someone was asking me about, hi guys, asking me about saying Miramichi. I say it right, don't I? Okay. Claude, let's get to the questions, guys. It's Q&A Friday, and I got lots, okay? Claude, how are you, my friend? When taking antibiotics, is it safe to take probiotics at the same time? Well, it sure is safe. Look, you got no choice, Claude. And, we really went over this with antibiotics in the past, and we did it even on yesterday's program. Absolutely need probiotics, and you should take them with your antibiotic. Now, some people feel they got to take them an hour or two apart, taking your antibiotic and then the probiotic apart. I don't necessarily agree with that. I found over the years, and I've been doing this a lot of years, that as long as you're taking that probiotic with the antibiotic in the same day, okay, you're really, really helping yourself from the side effects of antibiotics. It's a big, big thing, okay? How many and how long? Well, if I was counseling someone, here's what I usually said. You're on an antibiotic, double up your probiotics. So if you're taking one a day, you better be taking at least two a day. Now, I'm talking about my probiotics, okay? And the reason I always talk about mine, why we have them made the way we make them, there's reasons for it, okay? I've just been around a long time. I know what works and what doesn't. I'll tell you, most probiotics on the market, they don't even get past your stomach acidity. And you got to make a strain that's soil-based, number one, and has a multitude of strains. Because when you take an antibiotic, you're wiping out all your bacteria, your good guys, within 5 days. So you need broad spectrum to replace that, okay? To replace that. And that's really, really important. So I tell people to double up. A lot of times, especially people have had, a urinary tract infection, whatever, I say, go for a month of 6 probiotics a day. I know that can be costly, but if you're asking me therapeutically, Claude, what to do, that's what I would do. Double up at least for a month. Okay? Thanks for the question, Claude. We sure appreciate it. Susie, I think. I was taking Blood Boost from Dr. Martin, okay, now called Multi-Nutrient. Health Canada said we had to change the name. That gives me a migraine, plus it elevates my cortisol, if you know what I mean. Okay, wait a minute. Let me get back to this here. Okay, and B12 tub. Could this contribute to raising B12? Well, yeah, for sure. You want to raise your B12. So, Suze, what I would suggest, what do you mean if this, what is your B12 level? Because, of course, I'm aiming to raise, I want everyone in the universe to optimize their B12. Okay, so normal B12, that's enough for a mouse. You ain't a mouse. So, yeah, tell me what you mean by that, Susie, because, send it, if you're listening this morning, give it to me on the scroll. What's your number? Now, are you getting iron overload? Okay, is your ferritin gone through the roof? I need to know that to answer your question, because what's your ferritin numbers? What's your iron numbers? I'd like to know that, okay? Because I can't answer your question properly. Yes, when you take B12, of course it's going to raise your blood, your serum levels of B12. That's what you're aiming for. Now, having high B12, so what? It's good for you. Now, you might have to, stop taking B12. If you're at above 1200, then stop taking it. You don't need it anymore. Now, about your iron levels, usually when you're elevated iron, you got fatty liver, usually, or insulin resistance. Those are the biggest causes today of iron overload. Okay, it's not you eating steak or even taking the Blood Boost, now called multi-nutrient. Ugh. Do I have suggestions for lowering iron? Yeah, lower your insulin, empty your liver. And LDL. Why do you want to lower, Sue, your LDL? You don't want to lower your LDL cholesterol. Why do you want to do that? I know I go against the grain, but I ask people, why do you want to lower your LDL cholesterol? Well, my doctor said. Well, I love your doctor, but they're wrong. LDL cholesterol, they made it out to be a bad guy because they found a drug that lowers LDL cholesterol. So they made LDL a bad. Statin drugs work. They lower your LDL cholesterol. Okay. What has that done for us? Absolutely nothing. And every doctor, and you know what, and I hate to say it, almost every naturopath I know, they still want you to lower your LDL. Like, for what reason? Your LDL, it's like saying, let's get all the Amazon, get all the FedEx trucks and the Canada Post trucks or whatever off the highways. Let's get them off the highways. Why? They're delivering goods. Travel down anywhere in Canada or the United States and count the amount of transport trucks that are on the highways. They're not bad guys. Okay? They're carrying goods. How would we eat if you didn't live on a farm? Okay. Anyways, Colleen, my best friend, suffers from best BF. Boyfriend? Best friend. I don't know. Colleen. Okay, high fructose. He suffers from high fructose intolerance. Colleen, it's the first time I've ever heard that. Okay? Now, I've heard of high levels of uric acid, and that is caused, one of the main causes is fructose. And especially high fructose corn syrup. So if he suffers from high fructose intolerance, first time I've ever heard it, I mean it. I've been around for 50 years. I've never heard that term. Who told him that? Was it a doctor? You got high fructose intolerance. Okay. What are they saying here? Trying to find what can help him. Well, if he has intolerance, lay off. First, certainly the high fructose corn syrup. Now, I get a lot of people to cut back even on fructose in fruits. Okay? I call them God's candies. Like, if you got trouble with insulin, and you got trouble with insulin resistance, does he have trouble with that, Colleen? I don't know. Does he? Give me more detail, because it's the first time I've ever heard that term. See, I learn something every day. I love it. Okay. Doctors tell him to stay away from it. Even it's in everything, even in fruits and veggies. Yeah, well, eat eggs, meat, and cheese. He'll do well. Send me more. You know what, Colleen? I'm actually going to look it up, okay? Because I just never have heard that term in my life. I love it. Okay. Laurie. If you're having troubles breaking protein down and your inflammation markers are really high, what could be the cause? Well, it could be a lot of things. Okay, you got trouble breaking protein down. Protein is broken down in your stomach. I spent a lot of time this week talking about that because a lot of people are taking PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, because they got so much acid coming up their esophagus. But the problem isn't too much acid. The problem is they don't have enough. And you got a signal in your body to produce more acid. Okay? That's the number one issue people have with breaking protein down. You got to have a good stomach to break protein down. Okay? Your body was designed your stomach acid was designed. So I would start there, Lori. You know, someone that has trouble breaking protein down, you need to be on our digestive enzymes. They're made for that. They're made to restore the acidity, the proper acidity. You want acid in your stomach. When you take a good digestive enzyme, you're going to help fix that. Okay? Some people take betaine, HCl. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I was always reticent. I found that just could make a lot of people worse. And then you have inflammation. Well, that'll give you inflammation too, because inflammation, if you don't break protein down properly, you're going to have trouble digesting protein. And a lot of people do, because they don't have enough acidity in their stomach. Down the pipe, that can give you inflammation, because your body, you're in the small intestine, when protein is undigested, it's almost autoimmune. The body flags protein as being a foreign invader because you didn't break it down properly into an amino acid. So, yeah, they could be connected big time. Get on digestive enzymes, get on probiotics. And Laurie's asking, could this be parasites? Nah, look, parasites are getting a lot of ink. Every day I'm reading about, I think it's because of parasites and cancer. Ivermectin is it's getting a lot of ink. And guys, I thought I answered that this week, but I'll repeat. I'm not against ivermectin at all. Okay, I'm not. I'm just, look, if you got cancer and you want to get on ivermectin, I'm 100% behind you, okay? The theory that parasites are the number one cause of cancer, okay, I'm not saying they're not involved. I'm just saying I'm more of a fungus guy than parasites. I watch listen, I was in practice for a lot of years. I saw a lot of parasites over the years, okay? I used to look at them in blood. I used to do stool analysis, and I saw a lot of parasites, okay? But the biggest culprit, in my opinion, are fungus. It's Candida. That's my opinion. And so I'm not against a parasite cleanse. And somebody asked me, I think, yeah, Martina, let me answer you right away. Should we do a regular parasite cleanses? Well, I like cleansing parasite, but remember, when you take a broad spectrum probiotic with L-reuteri and L-rhamnosus, okay? That's in our formula it's the hidden part. People go, why did you hide it? Well, people were copying copycats. And you know what? They don't know how to do it because they don't let those strains, it takes 8 weeks for every strain in our bacteria, in our probiotics it takes them 8 weeks to make them. Each strain. And listen, your body is, it should be. Your liver is a tremendous parasite cleanser. Your body knows how to get rid of parasites. Not only probiotics, because broad spectrum probiotics, they clean up. Those friendly bacteria can take parasites out of your body, and they take Candida out of your body. Plus, you have a fighting machine, your body. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. God gave you a liver. Keep it clean. You want to do a cleansing? Keep your liver clean. because your liver will produce glutathione, and glutathione will leach itself to a parasite, will grab the parasites, heavy metals, toxins, mycotoxins. Keep your liver clean. And when you empty your liver from fat, and by the way, you don't make your liver fat with fat. People think that, but that's not the truth, okay? Go on a fat-free diet. That's the stupidest thing you can do, is go on a fat-free diet, okay? You're made up of fat. Your brain's made up of fat. You need cholesterol. Your liver needs cholesterol. Your liver makes cholesterol. Eat your 15% cholesterol that you need. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Remember, parasites and candida need to be fed to live. Cut out sugar. Okay? This is what drives me crazy. Okay? You get all these gurus. Red meat causes cancer. Okay? And then in the next breath, they'll talk about parasites are the cause of cancer. Okay? I go, well, hello? Parasites can't feed on eggs, meat, and cheese. Cancer can't feed on eggs, meat, and cheese. They just don't. Okay? So, if parasites or candida, yeast, fungus, or both are involved in cancer, don't feed them. They feed on sugar. They feed on junk. They feed on junk. They're teenagers. They're kids. They want candy. Okay, I really appreciate those questions. I get off on a tangents, I know. Colleen, I just can't get over the question. High fructose intolerance. I gotta look it up. It's bothering me. I've never heard that in my life. Honest to God. Okay. That was Lori. Thanks for the question on breaking down protein and that. Anonymous. I don't know why you want to keep your name off my show. Just give me your first name. Could you ask Dr. Martin's thought on the supplement TMG? Trimethylglycine. In controlling homocysteine. Now, homocysteine, you know, guys, I got this in my book, Sun, Steak, and Steel. I like homocysteine. Okay? And if you have elevated levels of homocysteine, okay, it's like you got a fire of inflammation, and homocysteine is the smoke. And it disturbs the communication between your cells. Homocysteine. Doctors rarely look at it, and they should. I like the test. But what I found lowers homocysteine better than TMG or whatever is B12. B12. And most people that got elevated levels of homocysteine, they don't eat enough red meat. Because red meat's got B12. Okay? So, did I answer your questions, Anonymous? By breaking it up, would it help in controlling high blood pressure? I don't know. I'm not that opinionated about TMG. I just didn't have a lot of patients or whatever try it. I've read about it. I understand what it is, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just like things better than TMG. B12 is better than TMG. B12 is better for your blood pressure than TMG is, in my opinion. Navitol is better for your blood pressure because it elevates your nitric oxide, better than TMG. Anywho, okay, thanks for the question. We appreciate it. Robin, after watching your video on cortisol, I'm wondering if internal vibrations, mainly in the legs, but can go up to the rest, can be caused by high cortisol. Well, certainly it can. Absolutely. Okay? Cortisol. It's part of your fight or flight. I mean, you need cortisol. And cortisol should only be high in the morning because it's your wake-up hormone. Any other time of the day, it should be diminished. It's done its job. And it'll only go up if you're under stress. Okay? And when you feel that vibration in the body or whatever, oftentimes it is, your cortisol's through the roof. And lower it. Absolutely. It's a big problem today. 2 hormones that want you dead. Insulin and cortisol. Okay. Thanks for the questions. Tara. I'm in menopause. You're in hormone territory, aren't you, Tara? I'm in menopause and have vaginal atrophy. What can help? Well, look, I know what doctors will want to do. They want to give you estrogen. What I would do is give you progesterone and get your progesterone levels up. Get on our menopausal formula. That will dim out the bad estrogen. All those xenoestrogens that are around. Okay? You're surrounded by estrogen. That's why I don't like giving estrogen. I never did to my patients. When I was in practice, I said, nah, you got too much estrogen. What? My doctor said my estrogen down. He tested it. I said, I know. But it's the imbalance between estrogen and progesterone. When you get vaginal atrophy, you need progesterone, my dear. Now, okay, you can get a bioidentical progesterone. Our menopausal formula elevates progesterone. How do I know that? Because I used to test. I didn't guess. And it dims out the bad estrogen. You don't want that. You don't want that. Flax seeds. Take them every day. Okay. Oh, that was, who was that now here? That was Tyra. Tara. And remember, the other thing too, Tara, is you get into menopausal hormones, watch your cortisol, because cortisol robs progesterone. It robs it. And that can be a real problem. Watch your insulin too, because they go together. They really do. Watch your foods. Okay, this is Lucy. I look at creases. When I look at the crease of my eyes, they are pale. Does that mean low iron? Could be. Possible. Could be allergies. Oftentimes it is low iron. How do you feel, Lucy? Okay? What's your energy levels like? Are you yawning all the time? You sucking for air? That could be a sign too. I used to look at people's, I was very observant in my office, okay? That bothers some people. What are you looking at? I said, I'm looking at you. I'd be right in their grill, right in their face. I'm looking at your eyes. I'm looking at your tongue. Stick your tongue out. I'm looking at your eyebrows. I'm looking at your hair. I'm looking at your skin. That's what doctors are supposed to do. Anywho. Okay, Jackie, how to decrease possible methathione and glutamic acid in the body? Is it possible for high levels of this to produce internal tremors and anxiety? I'm trying to think. Jackie, you're getting into weeds. Okay? You're getting into the weeds. You're making your life complicated. Is it how to decrease methathione and glutamic acid? Why do you want to do that? I need to give me some more detail, Jackie, because is it possible if high levels of this produce internal tremors and anxiety? No, not really. Not really. Like what internal tremors and that cortisol, low levels of B12, those are the things that I would flag more than anything else. Give me more detail, because I am not quite sure where you're coming from there, Jackie. Cecilia, is there any way to prevent or regenerate the eye after macular degeneration? Well, it's always amazing to me, Cecilia, how much people can regenerate their eyes. And remember, I say this all the time. I've been saying this for 50 years about the eyes. Everything in the eye has to do with your circulation in your eye. It's blood supply. That's why diabetics have bad eyes. Almost invariably. Why? What's the connection? It's blood supply. Sugar is toxic. Sugar destroys blood vessels. That's why you have an organ called your pancreas dedicated to getting sugar out of you. You see, your body is smarter than medicine. Okay, let me repeat that. Your body is smarter than medicine. Why is that? Well, because your body knows that sugar is toxic. Medicine, moderation. You need sugar. You need carbohydrates to survive. Your brain needs carbohydrates to survive. No, it don't. Now, I'm not telling you to never eat a carb. I'm just telling you that medicine doesn't know what they're talking about. Okay? And when it comes to sugar left in your bloodstream, it's so tightly regulated. You have an organ dedicated to getting sugar out of your bloodstream because your body knows how toxic sugar is. That's what you have a pancreas for, mainly. That's why you have insulin. Okay? It has a job to do. So back to eyes. So what destroys eyes is sugar. Little, you look in the eye, an ophthalmologist looks in the eye, and what are they looking at? Well, they look at blood supply. They look at all those arteries and little capillaries in behind your eyes. Fix that. And you got a chance of Now look, if you're severely advanced but again, Your body has an amazing ability to regenerate blood supply if you lay off the sugar. And I'm big on regenerating blood vessels in the eye, and this is why I told all my optometrist friends and the ophthalmologists that would listen to me, I said, I know you're giving them elderberry and whatever, and I'm not against that, but can I tell you I got something better than that? You put the combination of Navitol, pine bark extract, and high DHA, and there ain't anything better for your eyes than that, putting that combo together. I've seen it with diabetic retinopathy. I've seen it with macular degeneration. I've seen it with cataracts. I've seen it with a yada, yada, yada of the eyes. Dry eyes. Anyway. Okay. That was Cecilia. Okay, let me just see. Jeez, I got a lot of questions. Okay, Milika. We're going to have to do a session Monday for sure. My question is, I have been having more very dry lips. Okay, Milika. And they feel like they're burning and color. Whenever you get burning lips, look, Milika, and this might not be you, but let's say a stranger came into my office and told me what you just told me. My lips are dry, they feel funny, and they're, what are you saying? They're burning. And I feel my color changing there. Anything around the mouth, I used to say, let's check your B12. Okay? That's what I used to do in the office. That's what the first clue that would come up for me. You got paresthesia, or you got, funny feeling around your lips and mouth. Usually, not always, low levels of B12. Okay? Now, another thing that can do that, okay? Cortisol. Stress. Stress is amazing what it can do to the body. Weird. Okay? And I would check those things, Milika, okay? You take Dr. Martin's vitamins, you're a smart girl, and drink between 2 or 3 liters of water a day. You're a smart girl. Please help. Okay, like I said, check your cortisol. Check your B12. What are your numbers? Okay. Ned, my 21-year-old daughter has acne. I heard that dairy, sugar, fast foods are bad for this. What helps? Well, the biggest thing is when you got, Ned, when your daughter has acne, she's got way too much estrogen. Okay, tell her tell her that Dr. Martin said, you're too much of a woman. Because in a woman, when estrogen is too high, they often have high testosterone. Thus, acne. 1. Fix that, lower the estrogen, dim it out for sure. Okay? Get flax seeds too, dim it out. I'd even put her on my menopausal formula to dim it out and elevate her progesterone. 1. 2, she's got leaky gut. Tell her I said so. 100% has leaky gut. Leaky gut, leaky skin. She, you see acne, she's got a yeast overgrowth. I guarantee it. Too much estrogen and leaky gut. Fix probiotics, digestive enzymes. I do the Trinity, okay? If I was you, here's what I would do. If I was talking to your daughter directly, here's what I do. I love the Trinity. What? Trinity. Digestive enzymes, probiotics, and bone broth. I call it the Trinity. Okay? The Trinity for leaky gut. Fix. What a difference it makes on the skin. Okay? Ned, that was your... Okay, let's end it there. The rest we'll do on Monday. I had to take a breath. I was getting excited. You guys, okay, so on Monday we'll do Q&A. If you have questions, new ones, send them in to info@Martin Clinic. We'll put them on next week, okay? Maybe not Monday, but Friday, okay? You guys are smart. Oh, I love my audience. I want you to question me. I love that. Okay? I love that. Sometimes I'll tease you a little bit, okay? On the program. I'm a big tease. I grew up with, we were 11 kids in our family. Like, you had to have a thick skin. Okay. Guys, we love you. I will talk to you soon.